Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video. And as it's 26, and for some reason the number 26 reminds me of reparations. I don't know why, but when I came up with these plans a while back, I decided 26 would be the number for reparations for me. And so anyway, I thought I would discuss, as it's the 26th today, my views on reparations and why I think they're important. Things like so, for instance, if there's historical evidence of a group of people who have had wrong things done to them for wrongdoings in history, I think that reparations, in my opinion, as an anti-imperialist, are important, and I would love for people of colour to support reparations perhaps in some way. I know some people will probably say, and fair enough, I mean, if people want to write comment to the contrary or disagree with my opinion, that's fine. And of course, I mean, some people would say that it makes people of colour, for instance, lazy or reliant, or believe that the world owes us a living or anything like that. So or things like that. So I think fair play for alternative opinions. But in my opinion, as an anti-imperialist, I think there is a case for reparations. And if you go to court for something, there normally has to be evidence. So I think there should be reparations should be done, in my opinion, if there's evidence of wrongdoing, like in the case of when colonialism looted or even tortured or did terrible things to people, like in India and other parts of Asia and Africa and things like that. And for this reason, partly, this is part of the reason why there's 5 countries in the world which I would mainly wish to support, as well as Asia and Africa generally, and Ireland. But the main 5 countries I would wish to support generally are Malaysia, India, especially India, Indonesia, Singapore, and South Africa, due to things like apartheid, slavery, and other negative things that happened, and also for the fact that they looked after Eurasians like me in those countries, or certainly in the case of the first 4. But anyway, yeah, sorry if I'm waffling, but I have to make these list videos. I know I did say I was going to plan not to do so, and to write my ideas on paper first, but I think they are easier for me to, especially when I have writer's block, to I seem to find it sometimes easier to make, or a lot of time easier to make videos at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling. But yeah, to me, if there's historical evidence of wrongdoing, if you like, I feel that there should be like a court that looks at colonial crimes of colonialism and things like that, and how to reparate those countries. Anyway, here goes. Here are some of the groups I think that should be reparated and how they could be reparated, and possibly some of the reasons. So number 1, I'm going to start with the global black diaspora in technology, and I think that, or STEM generally, even science, tech, engineering, and maths, but especially tech. And I think that as black people, especially women, have been underrepresented in tech. In the past, I came up with an idea which was to support, well, my main idea is to, or ideal is to support, it started off with South Africa, but then I decided the whole of Africa to work together in tech. And I think it'd be great if the worldwide black diaspora worked together in tech, especially as they've been underrepresented and due to historical oppression. I think one way to reparate the black community, as well as represent, is to support them in tech. And I was thinking of Indigenous Africans and Australasians, but I think it'd be great if people around the world, the black diaspora, maybe even people of colour, could support them, or allies or whatever, who want to see black people be empowered in tech. I think that in the past, I thought it'd be great to support Africa only, or Indigenous Africans and Australasians, and I kind of still think that, but in terms of tech. But I think that disadvantaged groups working together and supporting each other might be even better for Indigenous Africans and Australasians, perhaps. And also, in the past, I was thinking like tax. When people pay taxes, it goes towards things like militarism. Like, so if a black person in Britain or other parts of Europe or America does well in technology, then they have a good career and earn a lot of money, but they pay taxes which goes to things like militarism, which adversely affect parts of Asia and Africa. But I think if the tech industry itself, and even black people in technology and the tech industry itself, if the taxes they collect or generate would go to parts to the black diaspora, including in developing countries, and young people, including young people and women, especially in developing countries, if you like. Sorry if I'm not being very coherent. That could be a form of reparations. So, but it would support black people around the world, and use the money that tech companies pay in tax it would go to them. So I heard, for instance, that in the EU, it fined companies like Microsoft or Apple or IBM possibly for tax avoidance practices or whatever. But I think that instead that money could be used to reparate black communities. So again, I'd love to hear what people think about each of these points, which are your least favourite, most favourite, which ones you agree with or disagree with, or whatnot. Or again, as I often say, constructive criticism or feedback generally, or positive comments. That'd be great for supporters as well, from supporters as well. So yeah, that's one way I think that the black community could be reparated through tax. Number two, I think it'd be great. I think in a way, part of me thinks that reparations would be pointless if people of colour are not united and supporting of each other, because we'll only use that money to go against each other, or well, not necessarily only use it to go against each other, but we will use it in a way which won't benefit all of the people of colour. So I think one of the biggest ways we can sort of reparate ourselves is to use colonialism, like Asian and African nations, or even island countries that are colonised generally. I often talk about six, but countries that are colonised generally could use the fact they were colonised to support each other. So any reparations they have, they could use to, instead of having the tribal system in Africa or division in Asia or whatever, they could use that money to invest in each other and support each other. So somehow I'd love to see Asian Africans and Irish people and what I call the six generally supporting each other in different areas, like investing in each other's businesses and just generally supporting each other. So it's almost like reparating ourselves, so to speak, as well as being supported by allies or by international law and things like that. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, basically to unite together, and we're stronger together. I haven't used the hashtag stronger together and things like that. Number three, I think countries that lost liberty, I'd love to support them in areas like business, politics, tech, especially for Indigenous Africans and Australians, as I say, and also in writing and to write. So I'd love to hear from countries where they were colonised. I'd love to hear from their writers, poets, artists. I'd love to see their art and things like that, support artists from Africa and Asia and that sort of thing, both type of artists, musical and those who draw. But yeah, support their expression and freedom to make up for the fact they were colonised and lost liberty. And I'd love to do it in a libertarian way, so it's not forceful and things like that. Number four, again, I think that countries in Asia and Africa should make peace with each other, and that's another way to reparate themselves and each other. Number five, a main focus, as I say, is to support black people in tech, especially from Africa and Australasia. But also, I think the black diaspora itself should work together, network and support each other. Number six, as a fan of Italian football, I often say it's quite quirky that I support Italy, and I often joke about being mixed race, like saying I'm mixed up. But it's my one concession for Italy, because normally I don't agree with former colonies or things like that. So obviously Italy was a colonial power, so this is like a contradictory thing of me. But I think that Italian football should fundraise to give back to countries that were part of the empire, the Roman Empire, countries in Africa and Asia, especially in Africa, like Eritrea, Tunisia, Ethiopia, and places like that, which Italy colonized in the past, and to use football like C.A.R. or Italian football generally to fundraise for such countries. As I've said before, like I supported Italy when I was younger, so I've sort of stuck by them, even though I disagree with like the prejudice or racism and colonialism and things like that came from Italy, which I think sometimes is also very hypocritical, because Italy can be quite racist against migrants a lot of time, but at the same time Italy invaded those countries, so I think invaded them, but then just like other parts of Europe, I think it's quite hypocritical, as I suppose is a human condition. Number seven, how this idea actually came about in a way as it developed. And I thought I'd get around to making YouTube videos about it, even though they're not perfect, but I thought I'd give it a go, is through Celtic, like thinking about something I saw in a Celtic group on Celtic FC on Facebook, which was about how there's a commemoration of things that were done by the British against the Irish. And Celtic was founded by a Catholic priest who's actually from Ireland itself, and it was due to the oppression faced by the Irish, who happened to be Catholic, but also Irish people, and they came through like the famine, which was arguably caused by the UK, by Britain or whatever you want to call it. And also, they were talking about how they're commemorating this soon. I can't remember the date, but I thought that one way would be to reparate Celtic FC, like to reparate the Irish community in Scotland, in Glasgow and around Scotland, possibly for any atrocities they faced or any discrimination or things like that when they were escaping a situation which was arguably caused by their colonizers. So if not complete, at least in part. So yeah, I think it would be great for the Irish community in Glasgow and across Scotland to get reparation. I think one way that could be done is to reparate them through like the local football team, which is the Irish, Scottish or Scotch-Irish football team, which is Celtic and Hibs, or the two Scottish the two Irish Scottish teams I can think of off the top of my head. Celtic, which is I suppose the biggest Scottish Irish team, but that was founded through the inspiration of Hibs, Hibernian. So I think both would working together to get reparations, which could go into their football team for the bad treatment of Irish people in Glasgow and across Scotland. Hibs is actually from Edinburgh, but I think it'd be great if they work together and support each other to get reparations for their club. What amount of money I think they should get, I'm not really sure, because I think it would depend on a study which looks at the effects of what happened to the Irish diaspora when they came to the UK, especially in Scotland. I think to look at how they were treated and discrimination they've suffered in terms of jobs, employment, and poverty and things like that, I think obviously, of course, stemming from that, I think an independent body would probably have to look into that and look into the effects and see what would be a fair amount of reparation. But I'm sure it would be quite a lot of money. Number 8, again, I think people of colour should support each other. One of the things I think, and there's a controversial view I often mentioned before, but I don't believe people of colour should join the military, like Western militaries like the UK or the US or European militaries. I think that we should boycott those Western imperialistic militaries because of what they did to our people historically. I still think we should socialise with people of all backgrounds and all that. I'm part European descent myself, so being mixed race. But yeah, I don't think we should be bitter in that way. And I don't believe we should break the law or anything like that. I think we should do it legally. But I do believe we should boycott Western militaries or imperialistic militaries. I think instead we should use that time, that attention, time, money, effort, and energy to support our ancestral homelands, like people who are part Asian or Asian, fully Asian or whatever, or of Asian descent. I think should support Asia, and people of black descent or African descent should support Africa financially, in my opinion. Again, these are all my personal opinions. And if someone's Malaysian, part black and part Asian, I think they should support both as much as possible, equally so. And countries like Egypt, or Egypt itself, which is like between Africa and Asia. Number 9, again, I think it'd be great to support poets, authors, and writers from former colonies and support their creative people and support their creative expression and support their musicians and movie industries and things like that as much as possible, like especially people of colour. I think we should support those things. And number 10, I think we should support young people from those countries, especially, like I say, young black people in technology, as well as women, especially in developing countries. Anyway, I hope this made some sort of sense. And again, I would love to hear your thoughts. And I'm going to wrap this up before I get to the 13th minute. And I am out.